Okay everyone, welcome back to another video on GT Sport, and we're back with the FIA manufacturers round 3 highlights. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell, and make sure you like this video if you do enjoy this content. So we're starting from P1. As you can see, this was slot number 3 of split number 2 of the day. Yeah, we're obviously in split 2. I do prefer being in split 2. I think it's better with the schedule of streaming and stuff and not really wanting to put too much practice into FIA. And yeah, what a race this was. Again, another super intense race. I think you're going to enjoy this one, so make sure you watch this all the way to the end. So starting from P1, we're in a good position for the race. Slot number 1 of the day, we started P8, managed to get ourselves to P5 and managed to pick up 300 and I think it was 8 or 10 points or something like that. Or it might have actually been 315, I can't remember. But we decided to go again because I felt we could do better. Slot number 2 was a bit of a disaster, I have to say. I pitted too early and I had a really weird lack of grip all the way through the race. The tyres were just wearing out. Didn't feel right at all. Slot number 3 of the day, we managed to put our brake bias to -3 and figure out the brake bias. This is why, yeah, it's kind of good that we eventually got there with the brake bias for slot 3, and we seem to have got it sussed with the brake bias. So starting the race on the soft tyre. I was trying to trick people to thinking that I had started on the medium tyre at the start of the stream, but no one fell for that one really. Yeah, decided to start on the softs. Obviously P1, I wanted to go on the softs. And for the strategy for this race, I didn't really want to fuel save. I'm going to be brutally honest. A lot of people were doing loads of fuel saving, but what I went with the motive of doing here was, let's push, let's get away. I knew the car directly behind me would probably just, sit in my slipstream. But the good thing with this is that P3, you can see, is dropping back already. And I actually nearly broke the slipstream to P2 also at one stage. But yeah, with the Viper, it was so easy for that Viper to get back in the slipstream, as you can see behind. There's so much power. But yeah, I'm really going for it at the start of this race. We're running that -3 bias to look after the rear tyres a little bit. And we're going to go with a bit of a different strategy. We're not going to worry too much about fuel. So what I was doing was, I was revving out, but what you'll see I was doing, I was not revving it out to the extent that you would do on a qualifying lap. I was revving it out and just shifting pretty much at the end of the rev range. Now this is only going to lose you the tiniest amount of speed, but it will be pretty effective with the full fuel and getting them lap times in. So yeah, finishing the out lap in a good position, just breaking the slipstream there just in case he was thinking of going for an overtake. But P2 was clearly had no plans of overtaking. What his motive here was just to sit behind us, use that slipstream, save some fuel. Very tactical play, and exactly what I would do in that situation. If I was in P2, I would just save the fuel and let the leader just pull us away and secure a result. And this is one thing I like to do. If I ever start at the front, I do like to just push and get away from any battles, because 90% of the time if you do this, you can end up getting yourself a guaranteed podium. As you can see now, we've got a bit of a gap to P3 already. We've broke the slipstream, so myself and P2 have broke the slipstream away from P3. And this is, I kind of like doing this. Sometimes if you get too into the fuel saving, what could happen is, if I was fuel saving loads, the medium tyre runners could end up sitting in the slipstream to the leaders, and that is one thing you do not want to do. I think Tichney was the leading tyre on the medium tyres. If you haven't checked out his channel, make sure you subscribe to Tichney as well. They're in P5. So yeah, if you don't push at the start and the medium tyre runner with someone as fast as Tichney behind you, you know that if they're sitting in the slipstream, he's a very tactical driver. He's very good with racecraft. So yeah, we wanted to make sure we pushed and got away from them so that the medium tyre runners couldn't sit in the slipstream of the soft tyre runners and gain a lot of race pace out of it. So that is one reason why we're pushing as well. We're trying to make sure that we build enough of a gap that when we come to the pit stop phase and we have to put the medium tyres on, we've got enough of a buffer, because they'll be getting the undercut from pitting earlier off the soft tyres. So yeah, let's see how this goes. We're coming to the end of lap 2. You can see, look at the lap times. We go over the line with a pretty solid lap time. You can see actually that's not too bad considering full fuel, a 1:37.0. So full fuel and a good lap time. We can go to lap 3, and again we do another pretty good lap time. You can see again a 37.1. So putting in some pretty solid laps here. Again, lap 4, we're going over the line and we're doing the exact same strategy as we've been doing. Another 37.1. So driving actually pretty well on this opening stint. The first 4 laps have gone really well. We've built up a gap. You can see it in the replay camera on the bottom right hand corner. I do have to apologise for no delta information on the left, because I forgot to record this. I'm going to do this a different way in the future. I know a better way to do the recordings of the videos now for future videos and live streams. I can record in the background on Streamlabs and record, you know, using that while I'm streaming. So I can do it like that. It'd be a lot easier. But yeah, so far going quite well. We're obviously up into P1, and it's going, you know, pretty much spot on how we planned it. And yeah, we just got to keep this going for as long as we can up to the pit stop phase. Hopefully P2 wasn't going to start battling with us, but you can see he's getting a lot of fuel saving behind us. Being able to sit in the slipstream like that, what he's doing there, he's short shifting. He's probably doing 50-60% short shifts, and in the Viper there, you can just get away with that because the power on the straight is quite a fast car down the straight. So yeah, working quite well for the Viper. The Viper is a very, very strong car here. I don't know if you remember, before it got patched with the BOP changed a little bit, it was dominant. So it's still a very good car around this track. It's very strong. As we work our way onto the main straight, and we're going to start, finish lap 5 again. We got very close to breaking the slipstream a couple of times with P2. We got it to just around 7 temps, but every time that Viper was just able to get straight back in the slipstream with the slipstreaming. Use that grunt to get right back up to our rear, and obviously he was then able to just save that fuel. So yeah, we're doing quite good though. We're actually doing a little bit of fuel saving with the shifting slightly. You'll see sometimes I'm just going a little bit early on the upshift, not revving out maximum. That's just to try and save, even if it's 1 or 2% fuel, it might be handy when it comes to the pit stop phase. But yeah, 5 laps done, a quarter of the way through this race, and things are looking pretty solid. We're out in front. We've got a bit of a gap to P3, 4, 5 and 6, etc. And I think Tidgney there in P6. I think Matty, who is overtaking Tidgney at this point, probably started on the softer tyre. And hopefully at this point of the race has actually broke away from the slipstream, because obviously if at any stage the medium tyre can hang on to the soft tyre with slipstream, that's going to benefit the medium tyre really well. So yeah, hopefully that hadn't happened at this point of this race, as we work our way through sector 1, trying to keep it nice and smooth, shifting up into second gear there. The Porsche, I have to say, very strong car here. I can't deny it. I've loved the Porsche here since pretty much since day 1 on the game. I think we won an FIA race a long time ago in the Porsche here, and also when it was on a daily race not long ago, while everyone was using the Vipers, I actually preferred to use the Porsche because I just like the Porsche around there. The Porsche is one of my more preferred Group 3 cars, we shall say. I'm glad we managed to get the brake bias sorted. As you can see from the tyre wear, is starting to kick in now, so you're going to see the lap times drop a bit, but you can also see the tyre wear is very balanced. Now the problem with the Porsches, if you go rearwards like I did in the first and second race, is that you've got to really look after them rear tyres. In the second race I was overly aggressive, so yeah, in the second race the tyres were wearing out. We had too much grip at the front compared to the rear, so what we were getting was a lot of oversteer, and that was making the problem even worse. So yeah, always bear that in mind. So as we're coming up to lap 10, we're going to go in the pits now. A direct middle split. I found this strategy was almost perfect, splitting it right in the middle, 10-10. You basically came to a point where your tyres started to fade on lap 10, but not massively, and then you were putting a fresh set of mediums on, which would be pretty much perfect all the way to the end of the race. So a really nice strategy, I think, for this race was the 10-10 split. It worked really well for me, especially with pushing, because we weren't saving tyres. I was just going for it pretty much from the front. But let's have a little look at this now. As we come out the pits, you see that as we went in the pits, Heck had 9% more fuel than us. However, on the exit, you're going to see something. We're on 63% and he is only on 46% still. So he has come out the pits with like 17% less fuel than me, and that hence the gap that he's managed to come out the pits in the lead in, as we have a BMW that's actually managed to do an undercut, a very clever undercut there by that BMW. Pitted, I think, at the end of lap 7 off the softs. So as soon as them soft tyres started to fade, he pitted, put the medium tyres on, obviously going for a bit more of aggressive stint, obviously doing fuel saving on the first stint. He's managed to get an undercut, so we're not going to panic at this time. I was a bit confused at this stage of the race how P1 had managed to get himself up that far on there. I didn't spot that fuel when I pitted originally during the live stream. I didn't actually spot the fuel of P1. I was just convinced he must have underfueled, because there was no way he could have, 9% fuel difference does not equal 4 or 5 seconds. It equals about a second and a half, something like that, and we already had a half-second lead going into the pit. So yeah, I was a bit baffled by that one. I think that could come back to haunt him a little bit further on in the race. But what you're going to see now is I'm not going to really overdrive the car. So this is some advice. If you're ever in this situation, the car in front has clearly got pretty good speed. There's no point me at this stage, we're only halfway through the race, there's no point me harassing him, battling with him, losing time. What I decided to do now was, let's spend a few laps getting the tyres, you know, really looked after, because when you're in a slipstream, like I said in the previous videos, when you're in that slipstream, you can save them tyres a little bit better. You can short shift, as you can tell now in the straights. So not only am I saving tyre life, I'm also saving fuel. So, you know, down the straights, we're short shifting, saving that fuel, ensuring that we've got enough to go really aggressive at the end if we have to battle. And this is really tactical what I'm doing now. You can see going behind him, we're just going to short shift, save tyres in the braking zones, braking nice and early, really gentle in the braking zone, and really gentle on the throttle as well, taking it really sensibly. And this is kind of handy for me because this guy in front of us has actually got quite good pace at this stage of the race. He's driving well. The BMW looked quite a nice car here when the tyres were in good condition. I do think they faded quite quick on the softs. That is probably why P2 went for that undercut. But on the mediums, it actually looked like quite a nice car around Fuji. But yeah, we're playing this tactical now. We know that P1's... I was definitely sure there was something not right with P1 at this stage. I was sure that we could catch him, or, you know, if he'd under-fueled slightly. I didn't know he had put no fuel in here. I think he literally forgot to refuel. It could have been a mistake. Very likely was a mistake. But let's have a look now. We're up to lap 15. So we had done about 3 laps of just, well, 3 or 4 laps of just sitting in P2 slipstream. And look at the gap to P1. You can see it's already coming down quite fast. He's losing quite a lot of pace, and it's getting a lot closer, and he's got no slipstream. So he's going to have a real hard time getting to the end of this race without running out of fuel. But yeah, we're doing a good job here, sitting behind P2. And now this was the stage where I decided I need to try and go for the move, because I could see the cars behind. We're keeping the gap pretty solid to P4, even though we're saving fuel. But I can see Tigany there in P5. I didn't know what condition his tyres were in. Although I did know once we got to like lap 16, 17, the mediums probably overtook the softs again, because of the first race that I did, where I went for a similar strategy what Tigany's doing here. But we decided to go for the move on the straight and wheeling in P2 there. He's not going to battle that, because I think he's driving this sensibly as well, using his racecraft, because he knows that my car's probably in better condition at this stage. So he's going to now tuck into my slipstream and try and get the benefit of my slipstream to help his tyre life and his fuel as well. So it's really tactical, and this is why the higher splits, this is how sometimes you have to get the results, by driving very clever. And it's a really good point to pick up on. I see too many drivers sometimes battling away. They just lose time and they don't secure a top position. You know, anything in the top 5 is a good result in the higher splits, but if you battle too much, you just bring in other drivers on different strategies. And at the moment, we're doing a great job, and now we can really push and see if we can get to the end of the race as close to P1 as possible. I was pretty confident once we got past P2. I felt like we could catch P1, because you can see already the gap is getting closer and closer. He is clearly having to save fuel in this race. This is going to be a super close ending, unless he has to do even more fuel saving, which I was kind of convinced, because I noticed on the next straight, I think it was, as we went up the main straight, he just didn't seem to have much pace. If you watch it on the Delta on the live stream, if you go back and watch the live stream, you'll see the Delta on the straights is a bit sus, considering he's in the Viper, which is one of the fastest cars down the straight. So yeah, I was starting to get a bit of confidence. You can see I'm pushing, I'm driving aggressive, and we're doing some very, very nice driving with the medium tyres. I have to say I was really happy with the consistency in how I was driving with these medium. Just take a look at our lap times on the right of the screen. Not even 1/10 between all them laps there. That is very good consistency for the medium tyre. I was really happy with that. And now we've got out of the slipstream. Obviously, our lap times are going to start fading a little bit, because the tyre wear, as you can see, is starting to kick in, but it's still very balanced tyre wear. So I know the car's going to be predictable. That's the one problem we had in the race. I think it was slot number 2. The car just became you just couldn't predict what it was going to do. It was sliding, it was drifting. But this race, totally different car, totally different feeling. And it was just like, it was basically like you were driving a totally different settings on the race. It was kind of strange, that race in the middle. I don't have an explanation for why it was so bad. I was driving aggressive, but I wasn't driving anything too drastically different to this race. So yeah, it was a strange one. But yeah, this race, you can see we're catching up to P1, and it is getting very close. I was starting to get that feeling where another win could be on the cards here, and I was loving this. I'm so enjoying GT Sport at the moment. I really am. it's much more fun for me not to be in top split and to be enjoying it, not having to practice too much and being competitive with drivers of a similar ability as we go through this corner. And P1 on the curb has lost control of the Viper, and we have been gifted the P1. So out of nowhere, but I will say that I think he put himself under pressure because of not refueling up, although I'm pretty sure it was a mistake. I'm guessing that he pressed the button too fast and didn't refuel up. But yeah, we're up to P1 now, and we're getting close to breaking the slipstream to P2. You can see on the straight we're building the gap up, so P2 is struggling to stay in our slipstream at this stage of the race. All we have to do at this stage now is keep it smooth, stay out in front, and try it and get the win. If we can break that slipstream, this is going to be perfect. So we've got the fuel. We actually had a little bit too much fuel at this stage. I could burn it. You can see now I'm starting to rev that car out because I know that I can do it. I've got the fuel to go maximum because of that tactical stage in the race where I sat behind the BMW for a few laps and saved tyres and also saved fuel. I know at this stage now I've probably got the best tyres in the top 5 because we're on mediums that are still driving very well. The Porsche is also pretty strong on tyres, so it's looking almost perfect. We just got to keep pushing. As we come out of that corner, you can see the gap is almost at the distance we need to break the slipstream. So into the braking zone through here. Can we break the slipstream through this sector? This is where you can get it done with the Porsche. So nice through here. Keep it nice and balanced. A little power burst in first gear. Early upshift to second gear there on just as you hit the apex of that corner. And yeah, going quite well. And it looks like we've managed to break the slipstream here now. And I think this is the stage where we actually did it. We got away from the slipstream. We got the gap to 8 tenths. And now this is perfect because all we've got to do now is keep it nice and smooth to the finish. We don't have to be overly aggressive, and we're going to come away with some very, very nice points. I think the total points was around 360 for this race. So yeah, let's keep it nice and smooth. As we skip ahead to the end of lap 20, we managed to build up a nice gap to P2. I think it was over 2 seconds and 3 seconds to the other battle for P3, and we come away with a very solid drive and a victory and a nice amount of points. Last lap we took it quite easy. You can see dropped the pace a little bit, but I did not want to risk any glitch curbs or anything like that. So yeah, an amazing result. Another really enjoyable and intense race, and a pretty decent finishing time. Could have been a bit faster if we maybe did a bit of fuel saving, but yeah, 360 points. That is another great result there, and well and truly happy with that. So yeah, if you did enjoy this video, make sure you hit that like button, comment in the comment section, let me know how your races went, and I'll see you back for another video very soon. Thanks again, everyone. Bye.